What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are here to talk about this Rams game a little bit, man. This might be the game of the year. You call it the game of the year as a Lions fan, at least up to this point. I mean, this was such a hype game coming into the season, and now here we are. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about this Rams team a little bit, get to know the opponent, and maybe how the Lions can attack them or slow them down to give themselves a chance. So let's get it started.
Way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. And man, this is the game. Like, I'm super excited for this game. I even made a little preview, which got me a little sad. Like, it was an emotional preview. We showed it last on a Last Second Dose, but I can throw it in here as well. You know what? Let's roll it right now.
2016 NFL Draft. The Los Angeles Rams select Jared Goff.
Matthew Stafford.
Quarterback, California.
Quarterback, Georgia.
Up into his office and flipped me his car keys. Said, "That's the keys to the car, go for it." And I said, "All right."
Our franchise quarterback, Jared Goff. Thank you.
He wants the lob one, left side, looking for Cooks. He drops it in the bucket at the 10.
Looks, pumps one, steps up, looks, throws. Caught! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
First time since 2003, the Rams are NFC West champions.
After 0-16, the Lions are back. This team has earned it. You fans have earned it. Put your fist in the air. The Lions are going to the playoffs for the first time since 1999.
Stafford to the LA Rams in exchange for 2 future first-round picks, a third-round pick, and Jared Goff.
Thank you for everything, Detroit. Sincerely, number 9.
You are going to be playing against a team that you spent 12 years with. So,
about what type of reception you'll get and your thoughts on playing there with the fans for the first time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think it would be selfish of me to let any emotion get to me or to think of it that way. And of course, pregame, you're going to see your friends and your old teammates, old coaches, old staff members, and that'll be good to see them. But when that whistle blows, man, it's the same as any other game, and the emotions will be out the window by then. So
To tape, I'll come out here to practice, try to execute at a high level, try to get as ready as I can mentally and physically for a game on Sunday. Am I going to know some of the faces on the other side of the ball better than some people? Yeah. There's a bunch of turnover as well. There's a bunch of people out there that I don't know that are on the Lions now.
All right, hopefully you guys enjoy that. I know it's a little bit like, dang, okay. But this is a big week. All right, obviously there's been a lot of talk about it, and I have some notes coming up for the injury reports. By the way, there's not a lot of things that we missed from the Rams from last night. The only thing is that their center did not participate yesterday with an illness, so we'll see where he's at today when we get their injury report. But Dan Campbell, I got to listen to his presser. We have some good notes from it, but he was asked about this game because there's a lot of guys with connections to this Ram team, aside from Jared Goff, from the front office to the players like Michael Brockers. And he said, just kind of gave him a little smile. Like, yeah, we're excited for this week. He'll just leave it at that. So this is an exciting game. All right, you're on the road. We know about the connection. We know about the coaching connections, the player connections. I mean, this should be a heck of a game. And all I can ask for is that, number one, everybody stays healthy, but number 2, it's a competitive game. That's all I want. I just want it to be competitive. I want it to be entertaining throughout, because this could shape up to be a really awesome game to watch, no matter what the result is. Obviously, we want the win, but I'm just saying. I'm trying to keep this video a little bit shorter than we usually would do game plan videos in the past. I am going to throw both offense and defense into this video, so I'm not separating it into 2 different ones. But I did want to make some notes. So some notes that I took away from watching their film, looking at their statistics, how you can attack this team, how you can slow down this team, what I think would be the best method. And I have confidence in the coordinators that we have, specifically the defense coordinator, Aaron Glenn. I know he's going to have a plan in this game. It's not going to be easy because this is different, right? But I know that he's going to come with a good game plan. But just from what I've seen so far. So I thought we would dive into that a little bit. And of course, we'll do the injury report a little bit later. So we'll give some updates there. And then we'll talk about Tyrell Williams. I'm going to save that, though. I'm going to save that for the injury report. I don't know if you're seeing this first or the injury report. You may be seeing the injury report first. I don't know. But it's in that video, okay? And there will be one out late tonight, early tomorrow, something like that, okay? So just stay tuned for that. But I'm gonna hold off on those updates for now until we get to that video. Might as well just start off on the defense side of the ball for the Lions and how you could try to slow down this offense for the Rams. I'll throw up their stats on the screen right now. These are the stats so far this season for this Rams offense, of course, for the passing stats, and they're the best that he's put up of his career. I mean, he's on a career pace right now for himself. When you talk about, QBR, passer rating, completion percentage, he's on pace to throw 45 touchdowns. It's kind of nuts the pace that he's on right now, 5,200 yards. I know there's that extra game, but his stats are pretty darn awesome. I'm going to be honest, okay? He's killing it. First half, I thought we played a pretty darn good game. According to Aaron Glenn, he felt like it was our best defensive performance through a half. We gave up a touchdown on opening drive, and after that, we really stopped them until a big play before half, and that was it from their offense in the entire first half. So this is going to be exciting to see how the Lions defense responds to this, how they come out against this kind of offense, because this is not like the Bengals. This is not like we're facing the Vikings. I mean, you can start off with the quarterback spot. Of course, Matthew, we all know him as Lions fans. We may know certain things that he's good at, maybe that he's not necessarily great at. I actually think, when you talk about some of the coaching, factors, working with LA right now that worked with Jared Goff, I think they actually have the slight advantage here because they know Jared Goff's strengths and weaknesses. Of course, every team can gather that information through film and things like that, but they also just know who Jared Goff is. And it's not like he's been gone for like 4 years where he's a completely different player now. So yeah, we run a different offense. We'll have things prepared, but I do think there may be a slight advantage on their side because of the coaching staff having worked with Jared Goff, knowing what they had to do with him and what they felt was best for him and maybe what he wasn't so great at. So trying to attack him that way. But for us, facing Stafford, we don't have guys that were here really with this coaching staff that were here when Stafford was here. We have some players, and maybe that could help out. I think we're due for an interception this game. I think we're going to get one. I'm saying right now, we're going to get one of them. But this is a different matchup than facing Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow, great young quarterback, right? Up and coming for sure. He's got a lot of talent over there. But it's not this offense with Stafford. The Vikings, right? They're a play-action heavy team, and it's a good offense. But it's not like this offense you're about to face. And when I say that, I really look at some of these young guys, specifically Jerry Jacobs. And I'll say this, Dan Campbell brought this up in his presser today, that Jacobs is a guy that he's going to really keep his eye on this week. He wants to see how he plays against, this unit, right? How does he perform against this passing attack, which is much more dropbacks now than it was when Jared Goff was there. And you can see that, and we'll get into that in a second. But he wants to see how he responds. He said Jacobs has been like a pit bull in practice. This is going to be a challenge. I mean, they have really good weapons. Their offensive line, their pass protection is really solid. The protection plans that they implement to keep his quarterback very clean, and they take shots, and they'll also go underneath. I mean, his stats tell the kind of picture of what they're putting out there. Yeah, he'll still, throw some passes. He may turn the ball over, and I think we can get one in this game. And we listened to Aaron Glenn talk about kind of how maybe he'll approach this, because one thing that if you watch the film that sticks out to you right away is that Stafford's kind of looking off defenders has seemingly went to another level. I don't know if it's just because I've never seen him with another team, so it's like, okay, this is different now. But watching it, first off, it was kind of weird watching him play for another team. You've seen him for so many years, and we've watched him so many times. Maybe you get a little numb to it. But now you're seeing him with the Rams, and you're watching, man, it's just like consistently looking defenders off. No-look passes, and you're just looking for those things, and that's why you're seeing them much more. But it's at another level from a lot of quarterbacks in this league, and he really moves defenders with his eyes. He looks super comfortable in this offense, the way that they utilize it. Like I said, it's a much more drop back heavy, passing offense than it was when Goff was there. Now, the rushing attack is not the same as it was a few years ago. It's not at that level. It's not bad. They got Darrell Henderson back. They're not bad, but it isn't at that same, level. Drop back, let him read the defense, and let him pick it apart. I touched on this a little bit yesterday when Aaron Glenn said that with a guy like Stafford who likes to look off and then come back to his route, it's really about that film study. Being aware of what route concepts they like to run, what they like to do offensively. That way you don't get completely thrown off of the play by just watching his eyes, because the Lions have played a lot of zone coverage, and I would probably be shocked if that goes away this week. I think this is a team that you can play some man coverage against, but I think we're going to continue to play a lot of the zone like we have been, because that clearly is playing to our strengths as a team, and you're always having your eyes in the backfield. So understanding, what certain alignments may be showing, what they may be tipping offensively is going to be very important, not to just strictly get fooled by his eyes. But this offensive line first, okay? This is a good offensive line. Now, their center, like I said today, he didn't practice because of an illness, but I doubt that he's out Sunday because of that. Their offensive line is good. It's healthy, right? Whitworth is practiced. They gave him a rest day. He was a little banged up at the end of last week. Good offensive line in one-on-ones. Like having success beating your offensive lineman one-on-one as a defensive lineman, to me, that's one of the keys of this football game, is because I don't think we're going to see tons of blitzing in this one. I'll get to why in a second. but this is a good offensive line. Now, one thing they seemingly do a lot is they like to line up their tight end on the right side of the formation all the time. In line, they use it as a chip blocker. They delay the rush with their tight end. They would do with Tyler Higbee. Johnny hit IR, so you may see some Jacob Harris. He may become the number 2, but that's what they seemingly like to do with their tight end. They like to put him on the right side, delay the pass rush on the right side, knowing that Whitworth can hold down the left side of the offensive line, and it's just a really strong unit. And they do this a lot with multiple guys, though. They'll do it with running backs, delay a rush, they'll chip block, then they'll leak out of the backfield, they'll leak out into the flats. They do this a ton, but I think that's an important note because at least from what I've seen, like the 3 games that I've watched now, is that when the tight end is not on the right side, whether that's a motion to the left or starting off on the left side of the field, watch that side of the field because it seems like a lot of times when that's the case, it's purposely setting up something. And they could use that to try to counter it, make you think that's going to be something that it's not. Motion to left, watch for a run play hitting the left side of the field, right? Because they like to do this. They like to get the receivers really close to the line of scrimmage, have them cut block, and then try to get around the edge. Motioning to a certain side, I definitely keep my eye on him. But like I said, I mean, they're good because they use this, right? They'll slide the tight end to one side, they'll bring their receivers tight to the line of scrimmage, blocks to hit the edge, and then they'll just go with a weak side handoff to the opposite side of the field where it's just their tackle and their guard. Now, I'm not saying those turns into big gains, but it can pick up 4 to 5 when you have your defense slid to one side of the field. So you really need guys disciplined. But I'm looking for my front 4 in this game. We'll get to this more. I looked at the pressure rates. I mean, his pressure rate is the lowest that he's seen, I think, in his career, and it's not even that close this season. I mean, they are keeping this guy clean in the pocket. It's really impressive how well they are doing that. And they can drop back, throw it 35 times a game. Offense can be throw it 35 times a game and have some success just because they're built to have success like that. Us, on the other hand, not really. They are, and they've had a lot of success doing what they do offensively, and that's why the numbers are where the numbers are. How do I attack this offense? Well, one thing that I've noticed is I think what usually the most success comes from against this offense is honestly not blitzing that much. Now, I know Aaron Glenn's going to come with a plan, so he may come out, bring some heat, and it may work. Hey, do your thing, man. But from what I've seen, it seems like sitting back actually a little bit more seems to actually have more success. Now, in the past with Stafford, sometimes it was hit and miss, but I remember he had a quote that was like, when I see blitz, I see opportunity, right? And I think what you're seeing with the Rams now is when teams blitz, they do a really good job of picking it up. Unless you completely overload where they just have a free rusher, they do a pretty good job of picking up 5 guys. There's sometimes even 6 guys if they leave an extra blocker in. Stafford does a pretty good job of making sure they're protected, max protecting. But like I said, their running backs, their tight ends, they'll chip block, they'll leak out, so they give their offensive linemen time to pick up. I don't think blitzing is the best strategy consistently against this team. Timely blitzes, sure, here and there, I like mixing it in, but this is a team where I actually think that you may be at your best winning with your 4 guys, sometimes 3 guys. 3-man rushes, we saw it last week. I don't think they're going to be rare to see in this game. I think we're going to see a few of those. Check down, flat routes, taking the route over the middle, something with Kupp sitting over the middle on linebackers, taking some of those easy passes and they'll pick up 5-6 yards. Sometimes you can swarm and they don't pick up as many. That's the kind of offense I think you honestly want the Rams to play, is that slow-paced offense. Make them earn it. It seems like when you blitz them, they pick up well. Stafford's got an arm where he can deliver. Just think about these stats for a second, okay? On 3rd and 10 plus, Just think about this. This isn't the exact same thing, but on 3rd and 10 plus situations, so far this season, the situations they've been in, the Rams, on 3rd and 10 plus, Matthew Stafford is 10 for 12 on his passes, 10 for 12 for 281 yards and 9 first downs. Think of that's incredible stat line. Compare that to Goff right now, who is 8 for 12 for 75 yards, 2 first downs. All right, now there's difference. We don't protect as well. And Dan Campbell said it today. We do things offensively where at first it was run the routes to the sticks, and then we started doing things where maybe we run it short of the sticks, hoping to get some catch and run like we did with Cephas. So we've had to adjust based on what we have and how much protection time we're getting. For the Rams, they protect well. They have guys that can win one-on-ones, and you're more susceptible to getting those one-on-ones with Kupp, with Woods, guys that get separation on the outside, Deshaun Jackson, and you're more susceptible to getting beat. All right, so that's not just 3rd downs. And the Lions have been fantastic on 3rd down. So that'll be the area that I'm most excited to see. The matchup that I'm excited to see. When the Lions get this Rams offense in the 3rd down, who wins that battle? Because the Lions have won that battle the last couple weeks, but this Rams offense has been phenomenal, even in 3rd and long. I actually think one of the better strategies is sitting back, and the Lions have done it. right? They've done it. They've sat guys back in coverage on obvious passing downs to say we want to protect our back end. Wouldn't be shocked if the Lions do that again in this game. Some 3-man rushes, a lot of 4-man rushes, dropping back into coverage, having, double teams, those deeper routes down the field. Really like what the Cardinals did here. And you may have to blitz a few times just to make them respect it. At least once, maybe early in the game to make them respect it. But I like when they got them into passing downs, when they would show some pass rush, bring it from the edge, all right? They bring it from the outside. And that would force, some of those chip block situations where they'll keep the running back, they'll keep a tight end in on maybe both sides. You get some of your best pass rushers. Maybe for us, we put Julian and Trey out there. It would be nice if we had Romeo because they'd even be more worried about this. You bring those guys off the edge and they'll force some chip blocks, and those guys will kind of just leak out into the flats. And then it's just about rallying. But then in the back end, you're dropping. Like you drop from the interior. You only bring 3 or maybe 4 guys. Arizona multiple times just brought 3 guys. They drop 8, forcing some of those checkdowns and then rally and make a tackle. And you know what? Matthew Stafford, he starts deep on a lot of these routes, especially on 3rd and 10, of course. But he does look deep on a lot of these route concepts. Pressure with 4 guys, obviously 3 if you can do it. We haven't had a lot of success doing that. But our 4 guys, one-on-one, is Flowers, Charles. I mean, those are the guys I'm looking at, because if we can get pressure with 4, and we won't get it a ton, but if we can get it a few times, I think that's the strategy. I actually think that's the best way to approach this passing attack that the Rams are delivering. I know for this Rams offense is they do like hitting their receiver screens, tight end screens, running back screens. So if they feel like you're bringing pressure, they will hit you with these screens, and they disguise it. They cover it really well, but it's also just part of their game plan. Like a lot of times when you'll see them go, let's say, empty or whatever it may look like, but maybe there's a tight end in line. Either way, when they go empty and there's no motion pre-snap, you got to look for those quick wide receiver screens. Have it where if each of us pick up a block, you're going to be one-on-one, or you're potentially in the clear. Maybe you're siding a safety into the blocks. For whatever you're doing, if you're showing blitz, of course. But if they get a side matchup that they like, when they go to this empty set, they'll go 5 wide. They'll put 5 receivers out there. Then they might hit you with the quick wide receiver screen to either side. And that's just part of their offense. It's not always just, we're combating, a blitz. That's just part of their offense to do that. And I also think it does protect their offensive linemen a little bit. Use their athleticism to get out. They'll try like the mid screens, get their linemen to get to the second level. But it also slows down that rush because you got to be worried about it. And it protects their linemen a little bit to get some of those fast calls. And we've tried to mix it in too. So we should have tons of practice against this. Like McVay said, they run a lot of motion. You'll get things like this where they'll put 2 backs in the backfield. And I think we could possibly do some of this against them. And it's not really even a back. They just like the receivers having a ball in their hands. So Cooper Kupp, guys like that. And, there's is it eye candy? Is it legit? This is where communication comes in big. When a guy crosses or a tight end goes underneath, there needs to be that communication across the field. My guy's gone. But we know Kupp has had some big plays on this. They all can catch a run. It's part of the jet sweeps they do. They just use it with blocking. And the Lions should have a lot of practice against this one. And 2, I actually think we may have an advantage in this area, hopefully, because our cornerbacks will hit. AJ, Jerry, Amani, they'll hit. We just need to make sure we're wrapping up and hopefully avoiding some blockers. But Jerry did a great job of that, drawing a flag by avoiding a blocker just because he was so aggressive. So I'm very confident our cornerbacks on that side. Especially confident in Jacobs because he's already shown me like he's going to take care of screens. He's going to do his thing on receiver screens, running back screens, things like that. You got to be prepared for it. But again, that's why you want your defensive lineman to win these one-on-ones against his O-line and just help us stop the run, minimize it. Another important thing I think will be disguising coverages. And, obviously you always want to do this, but disguising coverages, I've seen a few examples of this where defense, I think the Giants did it to Stafford. They do a lot of pre-snap motion. We've seen it when Goff was there. They did a lot of pre-snap motion. They do pre-snap motion now. I don't know if it's as much as they used to, but they still do it a lot. And they'll do it for run plays to set up runs, to move defenses, but specifically when they're passing the football, they like to do pre-snap motion as well to kind of try to get a feel of what the defense is in. Are they in zone coverage? Are they in man coverage? And it seems like when he's able to pick up on what the coverage is, man or zone, a lot of times man coverage, it's quick. He knows where the ball's going before he snaps it. That's an opportunity for you to possibly make some plays that maybe he doesn't see. And that doesn't mean you'll get picks, but you could get some really big hits. You get some pass breakups. Disguising coverages will be important. I think Giants did a great job of it. They showed motion. They ran with it like it was man. And as soon as it was snapped, they drop into zone coverage. And Stafford kind of has okay, this is the coverage you're in, so this is where I'm going to go with the football. And every quarterback does this, right? They read things pre-snap, and sometimes they know where they're going with it before they even throw it there. But that can cause some dangerous passes. So those are just a few things that I think the Lions need to do well defensively. It's a tall order. It's a tough task. But that's who you're going against, right? You're going against one of the best teams in football. So that's just what this is going to be. And hopefully it's familiarity with some of these cornerback safeties. Maybe they can draw on some of the tendencies here, Stafford, from maybe they had in practice, and hopefully give us one. I'm more and more feeling like T-Walk's going to be the guy to give us the pick this week. I think he breaks through and gives us one. But like Aaron Glenn said, you got to be really smart with knowing their offense rather than just following the eyes too much, because we're going to be playing a lot of zone coverage, and that can get you into problems. But I think disguising it will be the best thing here. But I expect to see a lot of zone. So not really a great rushing team. I would say they're below below average rushing team, but they're not terrible. I mean, they can run the football. Hopefully we can stop the run. That's where it really does start stopping the run. Like I said, you get a lot of that pre-snap motion. They do this. They motion guys to move linebackers, to move your defense, to open up holes in your defense to attack it. So again, it's down to that front four to me to first off set the tone, blow off the line of scrimmage, some of these inside zone handoffs or the wide zone, outside zone. If they're trying to do things like this, you got to be explosive off the snap. You got to penetrate and force these plays back, kind of like Aaron Donald does. And then it's about winning one-on-ones. Like Aaron Glenn said, we got to win our one-on-ones. When I say front four, I know it's kind of a general term, but I mean like these interior defensive linemen, okay? The Brockers, the McNeils, the guys that have been stepping up, not Deshaun Ham, but those kind of guys I'm looking for, because first off, run game situations. They're going to do a lot to move your linebackers, your second level, your players out of spots, move defenders out of spots. So it's going to be about one-on-ones in the interior. Can we beat their guards? Pass rush situations, if we're bringing it from the inside, because they're going to chip block on the outside. So if you want to get pressure, bringing it from the inside may be your best bet. Maybe not showing it, because if you blitz from the inside, they're just going to sit a running back inside. But I mean one-on-one. Win some of those battles. It's a top O-line. But on obvious passing downs, if you can get those spots, you can put Trey or something inside. But first, you got to get them to that spot. So the interior defense line, to me, has to help us big time and helping us stop the run. All right? That way, because some of these linebackers are going to have to move, these holes that could be opened, you can't have them gaping. So I need my interior defense linemen to win, to force cutbacks. Here's the thing. There's a lot of eye candy on this offense, but there's also a lot to be aware of. This tight end, notice the motion. Now, he's going to undercut, go underneath this, the offensive lineman. He's going to leak out. They do this a ton, a whole bunch of rollouts with Stafford. But this is what I'm talking about with the defensive lineman. I need my D lineman to help me against the run. That way, my interior linebackers aren't sucking in on these play actions and getting out of spots. So he gets this motion, and he feels that this is zone coverage. So he's going to attack the middle of the field. So now you're going to get this play fake. See how the inside linebackers don't bite so far down on this play where they're out of spots? Stafford's still going to attack the middle of the field. Now, this is possible, but the linebackers at this point are just reading the quarterback's eyes, and they make a play on the football. This is dangerous. This could have been an interception. This is an opportunity. Oh, wait, was this picked up? No, this wasn't. My bad. But this is an opportunity as a defense. But if you're interior and your defensive lineman, I mean, they're just getting blown off the ball, and, you know, they're not able to get any kind of stops against the run, then this is going to be open because your linebackers are going to be sliding and diving down on these plays to stop this, and this play action is wide open as soon as Stafford realizes, okay, this is their coverage they're in, because he can read some of this from this motion, right? He's not picking up on this is man coverage, so he's going to attack this hole of the defense. So it's important that your defensive lineman really set the tone, but you got to keep an eye on these tight ends motioning around. Now you got one on each side of the field. You got to keep an eye on every tight end that's always out there. But these linebackers got to be able to stay home for certain situations like this on these play action fake. Really like what they've done with their offense. I mean, they got some really sneaky things that they'll throw at you. That Stafford will get up under center, and it looks like a handoff, and he'll take about one step back, and if a linebacker slides up at all, when he's going back to make the handoff, he'll turn and just fire a quick little slant. It's not always completed. It's not an easy pass. They've also been utilizing kind of like a little play action, play fake, rollout. They've been doing that with Matthew a little bit, with their tight ends leading the way. Those rollouts, and then last resort, he can take off. Right? You know, these guys actually ran the same 40 time. Stafford and Goff ran the same 40 time coming out of the draft. So they've been utilizing a lot of these, you know, little things. So for me, it's about this front four. The outside linebackers, you can include them. So maybe even front five, technically. Front four, defensive linemen, and outside linebackers, to me, are the focus in this game. In the red zone, they're going to play some speed ball. You know, they get up, quick handoff, and they try to punch it in, and then they'll get right back up to the line of scrimmage. They know what their play is. And Lions have had some issues recently in the red zone against the run. Campbell also brought that up. So we need to be lock solid there as well, like we are earlier in possessions. Lions are pretty darn good at not missing tackles. I don't want to, you know, jinx it, so knock on wood, but they've been good at that. You know, they've been very disciplined defensively at missing tackles. They're one of the best in the football, just like the Rams are. It's going to be a tall task. It just really is. But they've had some slow starts. Like I said, they had a slow start against New York. The turnovers kind of put them in positions where they score, and they capitalize in the red zone. They're pretty good at that. And on the defense, they're kind of doing the same thing. This is definitely a team that I think you can get off the field of. If you can stop that run, force some checkdowns, and possibly force some turnovers, because it's very possible to do so. I thought the Cardinals, they forced a fumble, which flipped field very quickly, and that's a huge play. So hopefully we can get a couple of those to go our way. For the Lions' offensive side of the ball, there's a couple guys you got to take note of, and it's really their front seven too. We know about Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and I know it's Aaron Donald, of course, but literally this guy is so much better. Even thought of Aaron Donald. I knew he was great. I believed he was the best defensive player in football, but watching him, it's crazy. Just every single play, he makes an impact. It's crazy. Even when he doesn't show up on a stat sheet, he's doing something. Starting off in the run game, and usually think of Donald as this pass rusher. You get all these sacks, he had like 22 sacks a year. But no, I mean, he shuts down the run because he is one of those guys that you can't run the football towards him. You just can't. I mean, it's so hard to run the ball at him because even if he's not making the tackle, he forces you to cut back. He forces you to break back the other way. He wins so quick off the line, whether it's swim move, power, bull rush, whatever it may be. And he blows up plays so quickly that he forces cutback lanes. I don't like running at him. Usually I think a pass rusher is like, hey, just run at him, because he's not going to stop him. This guy is not like that. Line up everywhere. DN, D tackle, flip sides. He'll be all over the field. Know where he is pre-snap. All right, and if we can handle him, okay, hey, run towards him all you want, because I think we'll find success running the ball in this game. But he's a guy that can just wreck things. And of course, in pass pro, it's like Anthony Lynn said, we don't want to allow him wreck the game. Yeah, he's one of the guys that you want to try to have at least 2 heads on him at all time. Know where this guy is, because you get him one-on-one, it's pretty much a wrap. I mean, usually it's tough to have him with 2 guys. 1 guy, there's just no chance. There's basically no chance. The first guy is kind of usually like a speed bump for Aaron Donald. Then the second one is like, okay, this is hopefully where we can slow him down and get the ball out. I watched Seattle come out in this game, and part of their game plan was to roll Russell Wilson out. They did this a few times, like on their first drive of the game. Russell Wilson, you can see, is lined up against the right tackle here. So they would just roll Russell Wilson away from the play. And even these things, like his closing ability to run down plays, like he'll just get off a block and run you down. It's crazy. So you can see here, it's just run away from him. The rest of the D-line, yeah, they're okay, but there's spots you can attack there. But Donald kind of just, look at him. He's going to close on this play. Like, he's going to make a play on the football. That is nuts. He just worked all the way across the field. You got to be on time with your offense, because if you're not, you just have to have the internal clock going off. Hey, 3 seconds. This ball's got, not even 3, 2.5 seconds. This guy got to be out. Because if it's not, there's a good chance Donald's going to be hit me. If I don't see Donald, get rid of the football, because that's not good. All right, simply is that. And they will do their stunts. They'll do things like that. And I saw the Cardinals, and this flips back to the other side of the ball. Cardinals had some success because they had Watt. They had some guys that could get after it, blow up some run plays with their front 4, and that allowed them to drop. So if we can do that, that's great. We need Flowers to show up like a $90 million man. We need Harris to be Harris that he's been. It's outside linebackers. Leonard Floyd is so quick and explosive. All right, this is one of those players that he gets so wide to the play that tackles have to make a very big effort to get so wide to stop him that he can beat you back inside. He is so quick around the edge. It's crazy. I see a lot of teams like the slide tight ends that decide to try to delay him, but he gets so wide. He'll get outside a tight end and still beat you around the edge. Call their other outside linebacker Double O. That's probably easiest because I know I'll mess up his name. He was great last week as well. Their weakest spot of the defense, honestly, is probably their inside linebackers. Maybe outside corners, we'll get into that, but I actually think it's probably their inside linebackers. They have Kenny Young, who's in there, of course, and they also have Troy Reeder in there, and they got to see some Ernest Jones, the rookie out of this year's draft. South Carolina, I think. Can't remember exactly, but they got him a little bit involved last week because it was kind of a blowout. But I actually think that's possibly the place that you attack. Look, this is a team that you can run the football on. The stats say you can run the ball on this team. The issue is that they get up so big that you can't run the football. And we've had that happen to us many times where we fall in a hole and we can't run the football anymore. This can't be that game. If there's a game this season where you have to say, hey, we cannot get behind the chains, we cannot fall down by 20, it's this game. Because if you get into pass-only mode, it's a wrap. We don't have a Kyler Murray who can escape. Even if we did, we'd be in trouble. You can't fall in that spot. You got to just keep this thing close, keep that run game alive, because I think that's going to be one of your biggest possible places to attack. Now, the Cardinals, they went out and they kind of started this by pulling offensive linemen, getting them to the second level, and getting outside of the tackle. That's how they seemingly started it. They had James Conner going. I think he had like 120 yards. They had 2 running backs going in that mix there. They were getting outside the tackle, and they were attacking upfield. I actually think our offensive linemen, as crazy as it may sound, will have the advantage against their linebackers in the second level. I think that's our advantage. It sounds crazy, but I think it is. They're smaller. They play a little bit smaller at inside linebacker. I think that's our advantage. Now, they have certain guys that are for those early downs like A'Shawn Robinson, and I like running the ball out of the gun. I like spreading this team out and running the football. I do, because it spreads out their defense. They get really small at the inside linebacker spot. A lot of times they like to slide down to safety. A lot of times you see Fuller slide down, and I think that's where that quick play action, hit him over top, may work. Now, we've had struggles taking deep passes, but I'm just talking about quick hitters. I'm talking play action. If he jumps down, you hit a quick slant. Our offensive line can win their one-on-ones. Someone's got to win their one-on-ones. Last week, we didn't run the ball well. We need that to not be the case this week. I liked what we did. That example coming out of half, where we went back-to-back past the Hawk, we ran it, we didn't pick up the first. That's the kind of drive that I think we could see a lot more in this game. Things like that. I actually think that's the best way to possibly attack this team. Because if you can get outside the tackles, it kind of minimizes their defensive line impact, which is much stronger than their inside linebackers. So that's what the Cardinals hit them with. But they could also go inside zone. And as long as you can hold off Aaron Donald to get to the second level, they're going to have problems, and you can get 9-10 yard chunks consistently. And to me, it's good because we have Jamal and Swift. Both of them could do this. I need Swift to be willing to put his shoulder down and run somebody over if he's going between the tackles. But he's obviously effective outside too. But I like the idea of running in between the tackles because they're going to be expecting things to get pulled outside. So yes, running things inside is great. I also like what the Cardinals do with 2 running backs. I like this too because it draws eyes. You put Swift and Jamal both on the field at the same time. You could draw eyes to Swift running outside, hand it off to Jamal with an inside zone handoff. Now he can get downhill, which is his best strength. So I like that. You don't really know who's getting the football. But this is a team you can run the ball against. I just like it the best spreading them out. Now, if you can go under center and run it, by all means do it. Set up your play action that way. But I think this fits with the game plan for the Lions, is being able to run the ball by spreading this defense out. And I'd be 100% for that this week. And I actually think we can find success. It's just about, well, first off, protecting from Leonard Floyd on passing downs. And, of course, Aaron Donald on the inside, who's going to wreak havoc. He will. You can't do anything really about it. He's just going to wreak havoc. So avoid him. Seriously, just avoid the guy. For defense, I mean, they have Jalen Ramsey. We all know about Jalen and what he's about. And he's going to set the tone. He sets tones as a tackler. He's a good coverage guy. But I do think arguably their weakest link in their secondary is probably their outside corners, because they got young guys here. Or I wouldn't even just call it outside corners, because Ramsey will play inside, outside, whatever matchup you have. He'll probably play more inside this week because St. Brown's going to be there, and they'll be like, yeah, we'll let Khalif, do his thing, and we're just going to let, Kadero Hodge be one-on-one. They'll probably do that. Unfortunately, we don't really have guys that are going to dominate their one-on-ones, which kind of stinks because this is probably the spot you could attack them. Either way, we don't protect long enough to get passes down the field consistently, and we haven't been able to hit those passes. It'd be great if we could. We could open a lot of things up, but I don't know if we can really rely upon that. So, but you do have a guy like Rob Rochelle, a rookie this year, who, he's played okay. He's played solid, but that is a rookie starting on the outside. Darius Williams now on IR. And they also have Dante, who's also out there, who stepped in. The guy's only 150 pounds. Teams like to throw those quick wide receiver screens. They like to hit him with those. Only thing you really got to watch out for is that when you hit him with these screens is that Jalen Ramsey he's tough, all right? He'll fly around. He'll make some of those tackles. And their safeties are very willing hitters as well. But teams will do things like that. But that may be their weakest spot, is those couple of guys. So maybe you can find ways to attack them. That might be the move. But when I think about what the Lions coming in this game, they're talking about this tempo, keeping up pace. I actually like the idea. Keep their personnel where it is, get up pace, attack this defense, and you dictate what you want to do. That can be out of the spread. That can be under center. But I like the up-tempo idea. And I don't think we need to see it every possession, but I think coming out of the gate, we may go to it. A run game. But you cannot have those flags, those blown-up plays in the backfield, like the quick pitch that we did to Swift with lost 6 yards. You can't have those. The flags are lining up on your tight end. Those can't happen. That's just a mental mistake. And I'm hoping that some of this tempo will maybe help us avoid some of those, because that was just, those are just killers, and we can't have those in this game. Look, this is a bend, don't break defense, and the only reason they didn't show the bend last week is because the Giants kept turning the ball over, right? This is a bend, don't break defense. They 32nd in average plays per drive allowed. Last in football, but at the same time, they're top 10 in red zone defense. That's what they've been. You can get long drives against this team. Stops in the red zone. Now, the Lions don't have to go to tempo if what they're doing works, but I think it's, just some of those mental things hopefully get cleaned up by that, just to find rhythm if we can't find it. We can come out the other way if we find rhythm, roll with it, because really up until this last week against the Bengals, I guess it was kind of weird for both of us this last week, ours in a bad way, we moved the ball well, we just didn't capitalize in the red zone. So for our offense, it's going to be the tale of how do we do in a red zone, assuming we get there, because we got to get there. Maybe not even just red zone, though. Yes, statistically wise, but if you get outside that, once you cross the 40, all right, you're in possible scoring territory. How does those finish? Are we scoring? Are we turning the ball over? Are they getting stops? Because that's where they've been good, and that's where we've been bad. All right, on paper, that's how the game should work out. We move the ball, but on paper, we tell you we'd get stopped in the red zone, and they would stop us in the red zone, and that's how the game would roll. Hopefully that's not the case. That has been an emphasis this week, is practice that. And then, of course, on the other side of the ball, it's all about third downs to me. Do we get off the field on third down? Obviously, you have to get the third down. I think a lot of that is stopping the run first, playing coverage in the back end. But if we get the third downs, do we get out the field, or do the Rams keep that high percentage of third down conversions up? Those are kind of the keys I'm looking for on both sides of the ball heading into this one. Obviously, a big part of this is going to be how do the connections affect this game, and whether or not a team tries to do different things just because they know there's connection there. Because even though Goff was with that staff, they brought in Aubrey Pleasant because he did similar things just defensively, philosophy-wise, to what he did with the Saints, Aaron Glenn did. So that's why they brought him in. So it shouldn't be completely new for Jared Goff and his offense to see some of the things they roll out. So will, one of these teams roll out different things that maybe they're not expecting? Because both these teams, I feel like they should be kind of prepared, but at the same time, it's going to be just a weird aspect with all of the connections. Both sides will be fired up, and I think the Lions are fired up too. Just Dan Campbell's response today when he kind of gave you that smile, it was like, okay, they're fired up. From the front office down, they want to get this one. And I'm sure Jared Goff does too, right? and especially the other side. The Rams are at home. They don't want to let this one up. This is just going to be a big game overall. It's going to be fun to watch, and I can't wait. I can't. I went with my bold prediction yesterday. I took us to win 24-23. It's crazy bold, but it just might happen. It just might. And I'm going to say, you know, I'm looking for Tracy Walker. I think he could give us a pick in this game on one of those deep passes because Stafford will take shots and, you know, he can miss some, but at the same time, you have opportunities to jump on some routes. His balls float a little bit. So you have a chance on those deep routes, but he's going to take shots. He will take shots and, you know, take him in coverage too, even if it's not wide open. That's what we know about Matthew. So you can get a pick. Maybe it's off a deflection, someone's fingertips, something like that. We get a crazy interception this week. And then I would say offensively, man, I'm really just looking at the offensive line and how do they set the tone and just more game plan. Score predictions down in the comments below. I'm sure we're going to get some blowout score predictions, but we are going to be live on Sunday. It'll probably be moved back. It's not going to be the normal morning time because it is moved back in the day. But make sure you guys tune in, man. Give some score predictions. We talk about the game a little bit. So tune into that. I'm assuming we'll still have it. Thank you, bro, for watching. Have a good night, and I'm out.